to our attendees who are beginning to join us for this morning's webinar. Thank you so much. We'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. We'll give some others a chance to hop on the meeting, but we should be getting started very soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature and we'll be sure to address them. Thank you again. All right, so I think we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Southern College of Optometry's September webinar on the SCO campus and clinical facilities. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. My name is Avery Cunningham. I am a Student Services and Admissions Officer here at SCO. I'm one of the admissions team members who answers your admissions questions and participates in the admissions process. Before we get started, I ask that we all use proper Zoom etiquette by keeping microphones muted unless speaking, limiting background noise, and respecting all of this webinar's attendees and facilitators. We will have time for questions towards the end of the webinar, but in the meantime, if you do have any questions or concerns that need immediate attention, please use your chat feature to communicate with us. Today, we'll be discussing the incredible SCO campus and clinical facilities. So much of our student experience is centered around our campus and clinics, and this webinar will be a chance to learn more about the on-campus experience SCO offers for its students. Grace Blankenship, a class of 2024 student and a work study student in the Student Services Office, will walk you through some of the key features of our clinics and campus. Then we will have time for questions towards the end. This webinar is being recorded and will be free and available to view starting next week on our website. So Grace, I turn it over to you if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Good morning, I'm Grace Blankenship. I'm a student here. This is my second year. Yeah, I'm excited to tell you about SCO and all of the wonderful facilities we have. So starting off, we have the tower. This is where all of our classes and clinics and faculty offices are held. We also have administrative offices and more in here. We opened in 1970, and then in 2013, the college made some major renovations, just listening to student feedback, taking those into consideration when making the changes to the current building. So you'll spend most of your first and second year in the tower taking classes and doing labs, and then third year you'll also have some classes in here. So this is the student center and atrium. This area is just outside some of our lecture halls, right in between our north-south lecture hall and our east-west lecture hall. It's a very open area. People come in here to socialize or study, eat lunch in between classes and labs. You can also see that we hold many events in this little atrium, and it's just a really nice place to feel like you can get some sunlight during the day. So on our first floor, we have our theory labs. This is a class you'll take both your first and second years. The lanes you can see in the bottom left picture mimic our eye center lanes. to get you right into that experience from the first day you have your theory lab in first year. So right away, you'll be learning different skills. They're called chair skills, just some different tests that you'll be doing on your classmates to prepare to be able to perform them for patients in the clinic starting your third year. You'll have a couple different professors in this lab. They'll help you go through the different skills and watch you, make sure you're doing them properly, give you some helpful pointers. You'll also have tests called practicals in this lab. And basically, what a practical is a timed simulation of a patient interaction. So they'll give you a specific skill, say, trying to find someone's glasses prescription. It's called retinoscopy. And you'll have about, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. They'll give you the exact time limit for each one. And a professor will stand there and watch you and then grade you, and you'll get your grade after everyone has taken their practical. They sound really scary and intimidating at first, but you'll get used to them. And these are just to prepare you for um, part 3 of boards that you'll take in North Carolina. All optometry students in their 4th year have to travel there, and you'll take a test pretty much similar to what a practical is, but it'll be a full mock eye exam on a patient, and you'll have a board of examiners watching you that whole time just to make sure that you know what you're doing to be an eye doctor and will be able to well serve your patients. So this is our north-south classroom. This was one of the major renovations they added on in 2013, and you'll have all of your lectures here your first and second year. As you can see, it's very spacious. There's room to spread out, and each seat has a microphone so you can ask questions to the professor, and all of our lectures get recorded. So your questions will also be picked up on the recording where students can go back and listen to that lecture if they miss something, or pause it and really just grasp all the info that your professor gives in a allotted amount of time. Each seat also has an outlet, and it's just to make it effective for you to use sitting there a good portion of your day. Classes are around an hour long. You'll have about 4 or 3 lectures per day. First years have them in the morning, and then they have lab in the afternoon, and then second years have labs in the morning, lectures in the afternoon, and third years have lectures in the morning as well. Classes, like I said, are recorded. You'll also have a note taker elected in each class, and that will be something that you can buy. So a note taker is elected by the class, and they're also like a paid work study position. And they just give you notes from each class. So most of them have to go back through and watch it again just to make sure they get all of the information. I think they're a really helpful study tool to buy. They're pretty cheap, depending on which classes for which semester you're buying. They're always under $100 for all of the classes combined. So whether you're in 5 classes or 7 classes your second year, it's still under $100. So they're pretty affordable, and they're definitely worth it. A lot of the note takers make like study guides or Quizlets along with their notes. Some of the classes also work together. I know my class has a class of 2024 notebook, and anyone, it's not a note taker position. Anyone can put in their notes and share them with other people in the class. But the note takers aren't allowed to do that. You have to pay for those. The way our testing works is we have 2 midterms and then a final exam. So There's about 4 to 5 weeks in between each midterm and then an exam. During midterm weeks, you will have no lectures. You'll just have midterms around the time that you would have lecture that day. So first year you'll have them in the morning and you'll still have to go to lab in the afternoon, but won't have to worry about any lectures that week. And I think that's really nice because you can use all that time you were in, would normally be in lecture, to continue studying. The midterm exams are an hour long. Depending on the class will depend on how many questions um, the test will be. So that's up to your professor, but it's an hour long. We take them on a uh, software called Exemplify, and when you come to SCO, they'll give you the requirements that your computer or tablet needs to take those exams on. And I think that's it for North South classrooms. And I know that's a lot of information. This is the Learning Resource Center. So these computers are available all day for anyone to use. Say you break your laptop or need a specific software that you don't have on your personal computer. All of the computers in here have specific softwares, like if we're doing an anatomy simulation and you don't want to download that software on your computer, you can come here and use the Learning Resource Center. There's normally a work study in here who can help you, or IT is also right across the hallway from here. A Square Meal is our catering service for lunch and breakfast. So they offer breakfast in the morning and lunch in the afternoon. It's a pretty affordable meal, probably like going to get a fast food meal, but it's much better than fast food. They have everything from salads to hamburgers. And they'll do catering for different events we have around campus. This is on the 4th floor of our tower, and during lunch, you'll get to see a lot of friendly faces and take some time off from studying to chat with your classmates, or when you get into 3rd year, get to share different patient experiences over lunch, which is really fun. This is a library. This is on our 5th floor. You can see that there are multiple different ways they have for students to study to cater to your preferred method. So we have these little cubicles where you can just have like personal study, nice and quiet. It's always quiet in the library. And there's outlets at most of the cubicles. We also have a row uh, on one of the walls to the left. And then in the back, there are also some like little study rooms that you can study by yourself or with a friend. Some of them have whiteboards in them, which is really nice when you're studying to write out things if you're trying to memorize them. Um, the library is open a good portion of the day, and then I think it closes around 9, I want to say. And during midterms week, they also extend the hours. You can see there are more computers in here, um, and they have all the same software available. We also have um, a library reserve. So the school purchases textbooks that students need for their classes and keeps them in the library. So if you don't want to purchase particular textbooks. Some of our textbooks aren't required. Um, you can go use the ones in the library. They have to stay in the library though. So if you are like needing to read a specific portion of a textbook, you can use the copy machine and copy the particular pages you need, or just come back to the library. Most of our textbooks aren't required. Professors just use their lecture slides, and that's plenty of information. But if you're wanting to learn more, go into more detail than they give, the textbooks on reserve are a great resource for that. And if there's a book that the library doesn't have but you're needing, you can tell them and they will purchase it and get that on reserve for you. You also have access to lots of different databases and journals. That's really helpful for like projects you'll be doing. We have an evidence-based medicine course that you'll use different research from databases for. Also in clinic, if you're seeing a patient, you're not sure how to go about treatment for them, you can look back at journals and see how other optometrists have handled a particular case. Um, and I hear that's really helpful once you get off to the clinic. Um, and I talked about the copy machine earlier. So with your student ID, you have um, access to the print cloud. So you can send something to the cloud and get your ID all set up to use the printer and get that printed here at school for you. Um, I believe you have a certain amount, about $5 of printing free before you have to start paying for it. And I think each page is like 10 cents. But that's the library. Now we have the Hayes Center for Practice Excellence. So this was established in 2005 through a generous financial gift from Dr. Jerry Hayes and his wife. And then these funds were matched by SCO to form an endowment. And basically the mission of the center is to teach students and present optometrists how to better manage the business aspect of a practice. They'll help you go through contracts, resumes, look at an offer from a particular practice when you're getting out into the field after you graduate. Or if you're interested in private practice, you can start talking to them from the beginning on making a plan of how to get that set up. Or let's say your optometrist is saying you can buy their practice from them in the future. They'll walk with you through that because a lot of people here don't have that business background. They have different individual or group learning sessions, and they also have this online platform that has a list of just different job openings around the country, and that is only available to SCO students and alumni because SCO creates great optometrists, and those are the type of optometrists that people want taking over their practice. So I think that is also a great resource. It's their online placement site. And once you get into second year, you begin observing in clinic, and that's something that the Hayes Center supports. Yeah, they can, so I said contracts, resumes, they can also do mock interviews with you, whatever you can think of relating to the business aspect, they'll help you with. And then your fourth year, you'll take like a capstone class with them. And then student services. So when you come to interview, you'll come up here before you begin your interview. This is where all of the admissions counselors' offices are held. Our vice president of student services and the president's offices are also up here. If you have any questions about the admissions process or different things going on throughout your time here at SCO, these people are always willing to help and can normally point you in the right direction. So now we're moving on to the Eye Center. You'll get over here your third year, so starting in May after your second year. And you'll go to all the different suites in the clinic. So we opened in 2002, and we're one of the top optometry clinics in the country. The clinic here is the largest of its kind in North America and the second largest in the world behind one in China. We have primary care, peds, ocular disease. There's an ophthalmology clinic in here. We do vision therapy, different testing. So we see a lot of patients per year, about 50,000. I think there's around 300 patient encounters a day. So this is the lobby at the eye center. This is where guests will check in and then come to be seated before students or staff doctors come and get them for their appointment. So our primary care suite, this is where you'll see a little bit of everything. You'll have a rotation in the primary care suite your third year. And I'd say this is like the closest you'd get at the eye center to what you'd see at a private practice. So again, just a little bit of everything. Anybody above 18 will come here. This is our advanced procedure suite. So like I said earlier, we have a in-house ophthalmologist that comes in here and they can do procedures with a laser, so like cataract surgery, for example, they do in here. And what you see in that bottom right picture is fourth year students are, I think, getting to watch a laser procedure done by an ophthalmologist through a viewing room. So they get to watch on that big screen down there. So optometry is a legislated career. So depending on your state laws, you may or may not be able to use lasers. A lot of states are gaining laser privileges. Mississippi and Arkansas just got it. Oklahoma, Kentucky, I believe Louisiana, all have these privileges. But at SCO, you're going to learn how to do everything you would be able to do regardless of what state you're going to practice in. So let's say somebody's going to practice in Oregon and they don't have laser privileges yet, but they're going to learn how to do it in hopes that in the future, Oregon will pass those laws. We also have, the suite is used to equip current optometrists. So we just had over the summer optometrists from Mississippi and Arkansas come and have like a continuing education event on using lasers, since that law just got passed that they can use them. So SCO not only teaches current students, but they also help current optometrists. And this is our vision therapy suite. So here you're just going to be, it's mostly young kids working on maybe like reading proficiency or hand-eye coordination. If someone has like an eye turn, just helping them improve that through different activities. It's more of a hands-on thing, not really like giving them a medicine to help their problem. It's like physical therapy for your eyes is the way I like to describe it. So it's a lot of fun. They have lots of different games that are unique to get children engaged with it. Also, like after a stroke or something, an adult could come in and also receive vision therapy to gain back some of that function they lost. So this is our practice suite for our board exams that I talked about earlier in the clinic labs. So this is something unique to SCO. We have 2 rooms that have all of part 3 equipment, so like the same brand and everything. And they have like big casino cameras um, on 2 walls, so you'll get a full view of. You'll record yourself practicing while you're in there, so you can go back and watch and learn from your mistakes. So the reason we have these rooms are just to take away um, all extra nerves or pressure surrounding boards and just get you comfortable with your equipment, so you're not wondering where a certain knob is and letting that just cause a fumble. You want to be really confident going into your boards, and SCO really equips you well, especially with this room. It's only available for third and fourth years to use. You have to reserve it. Most time you'll get a partner to go in with you, and you'll practice on each other. And you'll spend a lot of time in here leading up to boards, but it'll all be worth it. And one thing I forgot to mention in the first slide of this is, uh, could you go back to that slide real quick, Avery? I'm sorry. So all of our, no, wait, sorry, the next one. Thank you. So all of our equipment also has teaching tubes. So this long tube going up to the right, and that's for, so while you're in the clinic, you will have a staff doctor overseeing you. So normally there are about 4 students to 1 staff doctor. And while you're in the room, taking care of the patient, doing all these tests on them, the staff doctor can actually see your chart and follow along with you throughout your exam. And when you come out to talk to them about what you think's going on and your proposed plan of treatment, the professor staff doctor will already be up to date on that case with you. And then when they come into the room to just check behind you, they can also look through this teaching tube and see exactly what you're seeing through those oculars. So it's really helpful to just have someone there to check on you, make sure you know what you're doing, and it helps build your confidence for later on. And this is our optical. So you'll work in here your third year. You'll help patients find glasses that they like and then fit them to their face so they get a nice comfortable fit and that's functional. Will help them with the particular reason they're getting glasses. So whether it's for full-time wear or for reading or for driving, you can make the glasses exactly how they need them. And then we also have our pediatrics clinic. So you'll see kids from all ages and newborns up to 18 years old. And peds is just a different specialized way of performing an exam, I'd say. You have to keep the kids really interested. It's kind of like entertaining them to keep them locked in and focused on all the tests you're trying to do. So you'll have a pediatrics course during your second year, and you'll have a lab where you practice on classmates, but then also starting your second year, you'll be going to different school screenings and actually getting practice on children, and you'll see it's a lot different than your classmates who know how to perform the tests and will stay focused for you versus children. But it's a lot of fun to try to find ways to grab their attention, whether it's with little finger puppets or a sticker on your nose or making it a little game. Whatever you can do to keep their attention and make sure you're performing the test to find to serve them well. And then we have our ocular disease suite. So you'll be in here both your third and fourth year. We see lots of different ocular disease here. Diabetes is really prevalent in Memphis, and You'll see some diabetic retinopathy in there, cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration. You'll see a lot going on in the eyes, and ocular disease is really fascinating. You'll also have staff doctors working here with you. You'll send them off to testing, and you'll probably see these patients a lot more than you would patients in primary care or peds. And then we have a couple external clinics. So our first one is Focal Point, and that's at Crosstown Concourse. It's about 10-15 minutes from the school. This is just a really high touch area. We also have a dry eye clinic in here, so you'll get to serve patients here during your 4th year. It's just a different mode of practice to get you acquainted with the eye center, which is like an institutional setting, versus Focal Point, which is more similar to like a private practice. And then University Eye Care Center, this is in University of Memphis, so it serves faculty, students, and anyone from the public in Memphis. They say that the University Eye Care Center is the closest thing we have to a private practice model here. So you'll do all the same tests here, help patients find glasses once you prescribe them their RX, and get them fitted and on their way. Then we have our Mobile Eyes mobile clinic. So thousands of people can't receive eye care due to transportation issues, and SCO combats that by having our mobile eye clinic. So in here you have 2 full lanes and an optical to serve people who can't make it to the eye center. You'll do all the same testing. We're just catering to the needs in our community and our population to serve them well, make sure everyone can get access to eye care that needs it, which is everyone. So I think this is a really awesome thing that SCO has going. And that's it from me, but if you have any questions, please feel free to speak up or type them in the chat, and I'd be happy to help you.
All right, thank you, Grace. And again, to add on to what she was saying, if you do have any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. There's also a Q&A feature that operates similarly to the chat that you can use to ask questions as well. And I know, of course, you all came to learn more about SCO campus and clinic, but Grace, if they had any questions about like the student experience or anything like that, would you be comfortable answering?
Definitely.
Alrighty, well, oh, here we go. We've got one right here. So one attendee asks, how are you able to balance time spent in the classroom with hands-on practice in the clinical setting and maintaining your own life?
Yeah, so I think especially during your first year, you will figure out your balance. It's different for everybody. Just depending on how much you have going on. But I think it's definitely important to have a work-life balance. School is your full-time job, and sometimes you need a break from it. The nice thing about the way SCO has it set up is, yes, you should study for a couple hours every day, but you have time like on the weekends to sometimes just like take a break and relax because you don't have tests every week. You know when your midterms are, and based on that, you can work around it, make sure you're keeping up on your studies, but also still be able to have a life. And um, labs are always open while school is open, so you'll have time to study when you have time and practice in lab when between like labs and classes, or if you have like a little break, a class isn't going for an hour, then you can go practice in the lab. The school is also open on the weekends during specific hours, and you can go practice in the lab then. Um, there's lots of areas to study on campus too, but I definitely think it's important to find ways to relax and relieve some stress and not get so caught up in the stress of school, because you got to get through 4 years, but you can definitely do it. It's doable, and a lot of people have like part-time jobs or involved in a lot of clubs, so you'll still be able to maintain your life.
Great, thank you, Grace. And as we're waiting for any more questions, Grace, you want to talk a little bit about where you're coming from with your alma mater and how you arrived at SCO?
Yeah, so I'm from Illinois originally. I grew up near St. Louis, and then I went to Wheaton College. It's a Christian college near Chicago. I majored in biochemistry, and always knew I wanted to be an optometrist. I was born without a cranial nerve, so I've been going to the eye doctor since I was little. My optometrist was just really passionate about what he does. I liked that you could have a relationship with your patients, and it wasn't just in and out. You actually can get to know them well and serve them well. So I was excited for that aspect of optometry, and just the work-life balance that optometry offers. You're not on call all the time. You can work 9 to 5 and then have a family and all that.
Great, thank you, Grace. Well, I'll make one last call for any questions. I'm not seeing anything in the, oh, there you go, glad I asked. What brought you to SCO as compared to other optometry schools?
One thing that really drew me to SCO was not only the scores. SCO has a reputation for some of the highest board scores in the country. They really prepare you well, and will make you confident to go out and practice on your own. But I think one of the big things that drew me to SCO compared to other colleges of optometry was just the hospitality and the family environment and atmosphere here. It's really not competitive. Once you're here, you're here. You don't have to prove anything else. Everyone's rooting for you, and classmates are really encouraging and helping each other. And then also, faculty and staff are always on your side. You get to know everyone from the security to janitors to professors and staff doctors. You can't go a day without seeing someone smile and ask you how you are. Yeah, I really just loved the hospitality I received here while I was here for my interview, and that same hospitality has continued this past year and a half being a student here. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with SCO. It's great. They prepare you well, and they're really sweet people.
All right, any last questions? Any last questions? And can go either in the Q&A or the chat. And if anyone does have any questions later on, anything that comes to mind, Grace's email is on the screen before you, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions you may have as you prepare yourself for submitting your applications to SCO and other optometry schools. And we also, of course, hope to see you on campus at some point. We are offering campus tours. Grace was one of the wonderful individuals who facilitated a lot of campus tours during the past year. So if you are able to visit campus safely and securely, we'd be more than happy to have you and to show you all the wonderful things Grace discussed today in person. Alrighty then, so if there are no other questions, I believe that brings us to the end of our webinar. I know we have covered a lot of information this morning, and I hope this experience has been of assistance as you start on your optometric journey. Our next webinar will be held on Thursday, October 21st, and we'll be discussing why SCO, a student panel, where several students will be able to speak with you about their own reasons, kind of what Grace touched on towards the end of our webinar about why they chose SCO, what drew them to the school, what they're hoping to accomplish while here, and some of the key takeaways they've had thus far as students as a part of this institution. The registration link will be live on the website later this week. If you haven't done so already, I invite you to request more information by signing up for our inquiry form. You will receive a personal advisor and a personal brochure with information relevant to your goals and experiences. Thank you so much to Grace for sharing your time and experiences, and thank you for all of our attendees who have joined us. We hope to see you at the next webinar in October, but in the meantime, have a great rest of your week and take care.